Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way, fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way, fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you while I'm there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell. Hey, hey, together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss. Hey, hey, bad guys to slay, fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you while I'm dead. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions.
Okay, everything should be working. Sorry, I had to double check. OBS. Anyway, welcome, folks. I couldn't hear the music on the first screen. I was like, what the heck happened? So everything should be working. If not, we've got captions. We've got captions for that. Welcome to Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show, aka Saturday Morning Gartoons. We haven't used that name in a while. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about Greengrass Year 6. So we're going to be talking event stuff, and the 3 champions in the event, as we do every weekend that an event has just started. Every weekend that an event has just started. I've got Gabe with me today. Gabe's grabbing questions out of chat and keeping an eye on you hooligans. All you hooligans. Keep the hooliganry to a minimum. No, grabbing your questions, hanging out with us. I'm trying to see. Yeah, no, I didn't. I got all the stuff up there. As always, put question, as you can see down below me. Put question : in the chat before your question. That way they grab them. Because the way this show works is, for the first hour, I just talk. And I don't read questions. I go over our topic of the day. And then we take a short musical interlude, which today we'll be here listening to Orkira's song, of course. And then we come back, and then I do the Q&A. But you can ask questions at any point. That way, you know, if something comes up, you have a question, you don't forget, you don't have to wait and forget it. Just throw it in the chat right away. And Gabe will grab it. And we've got a little backstage document over here. And to list it out, and I'll hit them up right after the musical break. Anything else we need to do before we dive in? I don't think so. So, welcome to Greengrass, folks. The way events work, normally you are doing campaign stuff, and you've got your campaign banner over here, and you know, it lists off all the campaigns. It starts with Grand Tour, but whenever there's an event, it pops into the top of the banner, and that's because it's trying to tell you, hey, I'm your priority now. Because events are limited time only. They start on a Wednesday, they end on a Monday. They last 12 days. 12 days. And during that time, this is how you get new champions and gear for those champions. So every event, there's going to be, if you click on it, there will be a little adventure node, and there will be 3 boxes, and each box will give you a champion. So this event, this time around for Greengrass, we have Orkira returning, Gazric returning, and then Entreas. I've been pronouncing this wrong all week. Entreas arriving for the first time. So every time an event rolls around, there's going to be 1 brand new champion and 2 returning from prior years. Now we are in year 6. That means there have been 6 champions that initially that arrived to the game through this event. But the way it works is you only get the most recent 3 available. Anything beyond that, you have to unlock via a time gate at any point. It doesn't have to be during the event. It's just you can get them at any point. So just so you know, if you look under like event achievements and you see 6 champions and you're like, well, where do I get the other 3? The year 1, 2, and 3 champions come from time gates only. Community refers to that as retirement, that they're not in an event anymore. I'm not a big fan of that term because it makes it feel like they're not available anymore, but they totally are. Totally are. You just got to get them from time gates. So, when you do an event is basically a mini campaign, and it's kind of an easier version of a campaign, because it's easier to earn gold, enemies have lower health, so it's easier to push deeper. That feeds into the easier to earn gold. So you can do all kinds of things, in 12 days you can complete the whole thing. You can maybe push deeper than you ever had and get some area goal achievements, that kind of stuff. You do earn favor in events like you do in a campaign. It's up here in the right-hand corner. And again, it functions similarly. Favor is a gold find modifier, so the more favor you have, the more gold you earn off of enemies. The more gold you earn, the more you can upgrade your champions, and the deeper you can push. And thus, the more favor you can earn. It's this cyclical thing. The difference is there aren't blessings to spend it on. You don't put it into something that gives you more power. It just provides more gold. Now, when the event ends, you'll be able to use the favor you've earned to increase the favor in the campaign, the permanent campaign of your choice. And the way that works is it's a kind of a multiplier that gets added on. So right now I have a lot of favor. I'm at E48. The way it works is for every E01 order of magnitude, my brain just totally glitched there for a second, folks. For every order of magnitude, so E01, this is scientific notation, you get a 10% multiplier on your main campaign that then gets added in. So I'm going to be at a 480% multiplier, right, currently. And change, because there's some extra here. Now what that means is if I go to dump this into Grand Tour of the Sword Coast, I'm going to take whatever I have in Grand Tour of the Sword Coast, I'm going to multiply it by 480%, and then whatever result I get, I'm going to add to Sword Coast. That makes sense? Right, so it's not just I'm just multiplying that number, it's I'm multiplying again against it, and then whatever total I get, I add it. So this can be a great way for newer players to get more favor in a campaign that they're currently working on. Usually newer players, you want to shoot for the E10 plus range. I got up to E20 on my new player account that's about 6 weeks old. So even at an E10, if you get up to E10 favor, that means you're going to be able to complete all of the adventures and variants that we're going to go over here in a moment. And then you would have 100% multiplier to your main campaign of your choice, which means you would double whatever the favor is in a campaign that you're working on. I do recommend you convert those into the campaigns you're actively working on. That way you get to reap the rewards of all that favor bonus right away. But ultimately you do you. Now over here you'll also see a little thing called bouquets. Bouquets. These are what we refer to generally as event tokens. The way an event works is you have to spend this currency to start an adventure or a variant or a free play. This is a way that they kind of slow roll you into it, and in a certain way limit how much gear you could get for a champion. But you also have to make it. Also, then encourages you to make some smart decisions about how and when you do things. Now you earn event tokens over time. You get one every 25 seconds. It is a server-side calculation, so it doesn't matter how many parties you're running. If you split the party multiple times, if you've got speed potions or speed champ, none of that matters. It's just one every real-world 25 seconds, as long as you're killing things. Right now I'm not killing anything, so the number's not going up. But when I hop in and I start killing things, it's going to catch up. It's keeping track, and it's going to start dumping a bunch of them, and then I'll get to where I need to be eventually. There is a way to get more event tokens, and it's by by using bounty contracts. Bounty contracts are a consumable item you find in chests, and they give time-based rewards. So usually our tip is, hey, whenever you get bounty contracts, hold on to them and then use them during an event so that you get more of these, because then you'll be able to get more gear for your champions. Let's talk about how to do that. So again, each of these little boxes is going to have, Orkira, Gazric, Entreas. The reward down here, when you first do it, it won't say free play. It's just going to be the base adventure. The reward will be the champion. That's how you get the champion. You just go do this, and the completion zone is area 50. The cost is a lot lower when you're doing this for the first time, too. It's like 25 tokens for each of these and like 100 for this, if I remember correctly. So it's super inexpensive to get started and grab your champions. And there's no restrictions. You just got to get to area 50. I do recommend using these initial just adventure unlock, champion unlock adventures to push deep and get that aforementioned favor. Because everything costs tokens, you want to make sure you're using them efficiently. So you want to make sure if you're hopping in something that has no restrictions, that you kind of want to push deep on that and grab as much favor as you can. Once you complete it, it then looks like this. Each adventure is going to have 3 variants. So each champion will have 3 custom-made variants with very specific rules built around showing off that champion. But you'll also have these free plays available. As you've probably seen already, there are these difficulty ratings on adventures and variants. When it comes to these, I highly recommend in an event not doing variants until they show as easy like this. This rating is solely a function of how much favor you have for the event and whatever campaign you're in. It doesn't measure any other level of power you have. It is just a favor check. And it is very straightforward. We know the numbers. It's like EO4 or 2 EO4, which is about 20,000 favor. It is literally 20,000 favor. To make this first one show as easy, then this one's in like the EO6, EO7 range. This one's EO8. Hence why I said, if you shoot for like E10 favor, not only is it going to double your favor in your campaign after the event's over, but all of these will show as easy, and that's going to make it easier for you to complete them. Because the reward for each of these variants is a guarantee when you do it the first time, the only time, guaranteed gold chest for that champion. So each one of these would have awarded a gold chest for Orkira. I've done them already. Gazric, Entreas, right? This is a way that you're guaranteed to get some gold chests. Remember, gold chests drop green, blue, and a chance at purple gear, right? So we like that. Now, the way you continue to get gear, though, is via free plays. Every time you do a free play and you complete area 50, so you go to 50, you kill the boss, you get the boss chest, do it over again, you get a chance at a chest for that champion. Now, the chest it's kind of discolored and there's a question mark. It's because it could be either a silver or gold chest. There's a 1 in 3 chance that it's going to be a gold chest. However, if you're like me, and sometimes you just have the worst luck, the developers have hard-coded what's called a pity timer, or bad luck protection into the game. If you get 3 silver chests in a row, and you're like, your 4th chest will be gold. For this champion. It has to be 4 runs for Orkira in a row. If I do, well, not in a row. 4 runs for Orkira. If I do a run here, a run here, a run here, and they're all silvers, that doesn't mean I can go back to Orkira and get a gold. You have to have 3. They each have their own pity timers. So, you know, you target one, work to get a gold, then you can always move to the nether and work to get a gold. However you want to do it. That's how I do it on my new player account, though. When I'm trying to spend my excess tokens after I've done all the variants, I will click on the first one, and I will do a free play until I get a gold chest, and then I'll move to the next one. I'll do a free play until I get a gold chest, and I'll move to the next one. And to me, that helps me get equal levels of gold chests for all my champions. They may get varying levels of silvers, but it's fine. All right. So note that the first time you do a free play, it's going to cost 500 bouquets. Every time you do a free play, the cost is going to go up by 500. However, it's going to cap at 2,500. So it'll never cost more than 2,500. It'll never cost more than 2,500. This is important to note because in the in-game shop, the shop will try to sell you named gold chests for these champions for 10,000 bouquets. It's a trap. Don't do it. It exists for one reason and one reason only, in my mind. And that is that on the Monday that the event ends, if you were gone for the weekend and you did not use up all of your bouquets, and you have over 10,000, but you don't have time to run free plays, you could at least go buy and get yourself a guaranteed chest. The rest of the time, you should just be running free plays. Because remember, you're guaranteed a gold, at worst luck, in 4 runs. 4 runs is 10,000 tokens. But that means you're getting 3 silvers and 1 gold, at worst. At best, you get 4 golds. I've had it happen before. So, to get gear, the best way to get gear is to do the free plays. Don't be buying stuff out of the shop. Unless, unless it's Monday and you forgot to burn your tokens. So, all right, let's look at each of these in turn. So again, with variants are, as you know, just from the regular game, variants are harder versions of the base adventure. So they're going to have restrictions that make things more difficult. That means when you're doing variants, generally you just want to get to the variant gold level and then bounce. Just complete it, move on to the next thing. Each variant, they're fixed on their area goals. It's 75, 125, 175. It's always those gold levels for these. Okay. And the cost goes up with each one. Now, it is discounted costs for the older champions. The newest champion is always full price, so full price is 1,000, 2,500, and 5,000. That's a lot of tokens, and that's why I recommend waiting until it shows as green. No need to waste. No need to waste what could have potentially been a couple gold chests, right? All right, so let's talk through these. Also, each champion is going to have their own formation layout. I'm not sure what Orkira's was trying to be here. I don't remember. It's a little funky looking. Gazric's is... Ooh, what? And then Entreas is... I say it's a loot. Some people say it's a lollipop. Perspective. All right. So, and everyone always asks, let me get this out of the way. Entreas is probably the best formation layout for deep pushes in this event. So if you're going to try to get favor and do deep pushes for favor, this is the way I would recommend Entreas. Very new player friendly, very experienced player friendly. These others are more challenging to use and not necessarily great for new players. Monastic Coffee says it's a mirror. Sure. I'm up for any of those. I don't know. Some people are like, it's clearly a mace. I don't know. It's a plunger. I don't know. Okay, the Endless War Orkira. Let's see. Okay, Wise Warriors wait. Oh, I should... Forgot. This is a special event. It's not special. This event has a special boss. A very special boss. We're going to see it when we're playing through here in a bit. The boss is an Elder Brain, whom we have all affectionately dubbed, well, at least I've affectionately dubbed Brian. Elder Brains are challenging. Elder Brains spawn a couple different kinds of enemies, one of which are Mind Flayers, and Mind Flayers are bad, okay? The challenge with the Elder Brain is it has 50 health, but it's hit-based health, so that means you have to hit it 50 times. Now, that's not in and of itself a challenge. It's fairly easy. It's just one... Anybody can remove a health hit because it's just 1 HP per block. The problem comes in that the enemies that it spawns, its little friends, its Intellect Devourers and Mind Flayers and things, heal it when it attacks you. So, this can be a very challenging Area 50 boss. Especially on your first run ever. It may be that you've got to sit at Area 49 and farm and upgrade a while to do it. It also is going to be hard if you're using... The standard new player champion is Jarlaxle. I even put Jarlaxle in my starter formations, and it'll work, but it's... As long as you've got these other champions, and it's going to be fine. But the problem with the Jarlaxle, and I probably should have changed this for all of the new player formations here. Jarlaxle always attacks from the back. And that means he's not clearing out the wave of things that are healing the Elder Brain. So maybe run like a Shara formations for this, folks. I probably should have done that. Oh well, I'm bad. Anyway, so yeah. This boss is more challenging. You're going to have a little more favor when you get to it to clear it. It's going to make deep pushes a little harder. There are some champions who can absolutely just delete it from the screen very easily, but you might not have those. There's champions like Krull and Corazon. Anybody who's got just massive damage over time repeatedly, like those two, going to do good work on the boss. All right, let's dive in. Wise Warriors wait. So, in this one, only champions with a wisdom score of 13 or higher can be used. Enemies move 100% faster, and every 25 areas, that speed boost is increased by 100% additively. Fortunately, you only have to go 75 areas because the enemies are going to start moving real quick. I like it when the enemies move faster. I'm weird that way. I like it when they get to my formation and start ramping up my damage bonuses so that I kill them super fast. But not everybody's into that. So, and the wisdom restriction can be a little rough sometimes. You do the best to build the best formation you can. If you're throwing in some filler champions, like maybe not that great, or they're not in great positions, or even if you have empty slots in your formation layout, try to get a little extra favor. We say an order of magnitude, or EO1 more favor per empty slot, or filler slot, and you should be fine. Again, if you're waiting until they all show as green, you'll absolutely smoke this. Volo's Guide to Orkira. God, here we go with that Volo hack again. So in this one, Orkira starts in the formation and can't be moved or removed. Orkira is noted by the C, by the capital C down here. So that's where Orkira is going to be in the formation. Volo joins the formation, catalogs Orkira's unique capabilities. That's the X. It's because they're saying you're just losing a slot because this person's at a giant waste of time. It's Volo. Volo forgot to mention that he angered a swarm of spine devils before joining us. They appear in each area and deal 300% additional damage. So Volo makes this challenging. Orkira's fine. I mean, that might not be the most ideal placement for Orkira, but it'll work. You can make it work. It's Volo. It's the fact that you're down an entire champion power, and you've got to deal with things doing 4 times the regular normal damage. That can be problematic. So again, make sure that at least this shows as easy. That really is the best way to do these. And if you're a little worried, make them all show as easy first. Flare Whispers, armored Mind Flayer guards appear in each area. So armored means they have, instead of just 100 health, they've got 100 health, but it's split up into like 25 or 50 segments. And they've got a little shield icon on it, and what that means is you have to do a minimum amount of damage with each hit to be able to remove a chunk, and it's the number of segments, which is usually which it depends. The number of segments, like the total amount of health divided by the number of segments, that's the minimum threshold you need. Usually, what that means is as you're pushing towards your wall. Only your your primary DPS is going to be removing segments or ultimates. So it just slows things down. The Elder Brain's Whispers slowly drive your champions mad. When a champion gets a killing blow, they gain a random number of stacks of a debuff. Oh, great. When the debuff reaches 100 stacks, they're stunned for 15 seconds. Mind Flayers and the Elder Brain all deal double damage. That's 100% additional means. So, this is a random stun mechanic. And because it's when they get a killing blow, it's going to be everybody at first will occasionally randomly get stunned. But what's worse is when it's your DPS. So, having a lot of favor here is going to allow you to level up your tanks a lot and give them a lot of health, so they can live while your DPS is down for 15 seconds. That's basically how this works. All right, let's talk about Gazric's. Cool Comrades. Gazric starts in the formation. He can't be moved or removed. And that's this hard C up here. You notice there's a couple X's right next to him. 2 Ice Mephits have befriended Gazric. It's not weird. And they're just going to stand right next to Gazric. So that means you're down 2 champions in this formation. That's a good amount of power. You only have to get to 75. So again, as long as, if everything shows as easy, this shouldn't be a problem. Brain Freeze. Once again, Gazric starts in the formation, but now he's all the way at the bottom over here. And he's brought 3 friends with him this time, which means it's going to be even harder. Gazric has created 3 Snow Golem companions. Each golem has an intellect devourer perched on their head. It's not weird. Don't think that means what they think it means. Only champions with an int score of 13 or higher can be used. So you do have a stat-based restriction. Yeah. So they're stacking a couple of solid restrictions here, stat-based, and then you're losing 3 champions. It's snowing in all areas where there's not already weather set. That's good to know. That actually helps Gazric out. All of these are and Gazric's formation are built around how one of Gazric's abilities works. We'll talk about it when we get into an adventure here and show off the champions. But just know they're putting him in places that are good for him. The downside here is they're removing your ability to place champions in the formation. So again, I highly recommend not doing this one until Armored Assault is green, just so you have a lot of extra favor. Because this is a challenging restriction, even if though you're only going to 125. Armored Assault. Gazric starts in the formation. He can be moved, but he can't be removed. That's why there's no C showing up. He'll be here, but you can put him anywhere you want. His Armor Ablation ability starts unlocked. All boss enemies have at least 25 armored health. So this is going to be we already know, just based off that, this is going to be a slower run. Because every boss, you're going to have to chew through at least 25 armor to kill. Armored enemies require 100% more damage to deal one armored hit. Great. But Gazric's Armor Ablation ability is 100% more effective. Okay. They just canceled themselves out. What we're going to find out here in a moment is that Armor Ablation lowers how much damage it takes to remove an armor chunk. It's kind of cool. That's why they're doing this. So they're just kind of giving a negative and then a bonus, and they're trying to let you see that Gazric can be cool in these situations. Pun intended. So again, as long as this shows is green, not a major problem here. It's just going to be slow. Entreas, mirror, mirror. So Entreas starts in the formation, but can be moved around, just not removed. That's why there's no C. 2 reflections of Entreas take up slots in the formation. That's the X's. They are going to be in those fixed positions. These reflections are just that and don't actually have any of Entreas' abilities. So this means you're down 2 champions. This means you're down 2 champions. So again, favor is going to help here. Yeah. That's really all you got. Timely Tune. Entreas starts in the formation and can be moved around, but not removed. Entreas starts out with Inspiring Song unlocked. This is good. This is their core ability, so you get it right away. After Area 5, champion's health is set to 1 and cannot be healed above this. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Entreas has the ability with Inspiring Song to give the party a temporary HP shield. Well, to give certain champions a temporary HP shield. There is a way you can build your formation. This is what this is trying to teach you. There's a way you can build a formation out so that everyone can have that shield. And they're trying to encourage that by making it so someone falls over real quick if they don't have it. So what's going to keep you alive here is the shield. And they're just forcing you to learn that. How are they forcing you to learn? Gaarawarr, how are they forcing you to learn that? I mean, everything's just going to attack the front line, right? Right? 1 to 3 skeleton archers spawn with each wave. These enemies attack random targets. I love it. Personally, I love this. This is exactly what you need to learn how to build out a formation that's going to be shielded the whole time. So it's going to teach you how cool shields can be. I'm a big fan of shields. For preventing damage. Sometimes preventing damage is much better than healing it afterwards. So yeah. That's what's going on here. This one's really about learning how to build the right formation. Or at least the best formation you can, and keeping as many people alive as possible. And finally, pick your poison. Entreas starts in the formation and can be moved, but not removed. You can only use champions who are bards, are chaotic, or have a total ability score of 78 or lower. Total ability score is a new thing that was added. It's at the bottom left of the character sheet. So it's a new thing to track. So you can either use bards, or you can use bards, chaotic, or a total ability score of 78 or lower. You can use all 3 of these things. So there is a decent amount of options there. And that's all you can use in this formation. If you have some options, if you have a bunch of champion options, should be okay. If you don't, you might be down a slot or few. Again, extra favor is your friend in that situation. All right, we're going to hop into an Entreas. God, I keep doing it wrong. Entreas free play. And we'll take a look at the champions. And we'll take a look at our champions. Get some familiars out. Oh, I can Get it all the way. Okay. Entreas. Slot 4 champion, so bench slot 4. Let's get them up here. Well, they can go about there. Well, they can go there. We have Orkira. Orkira is a slot 1 champion. I should put Orkira in her original appearance. There we go. So people recognize our winged friend. And then Gazric. I always get Gazric's slot wrong. There we go. 7. This is not their ideal placement. We will get to that. All right, let's talk about Orkira first. Orkira joins us from the Heroes of the Plains streamiverse, which means there are all kinds of streams that, with these groups of champions. This entire affiliation is in the game, so you can build out an entire Heroes of the Plains affiliation. And they do have a synergy. Their synergy is built around their linchpin of Alindra. Otherwise, they're just all really solidly strong champions, even on their own. Orkira, female dragonborn, but as you're noting, like wings and a tail. What? There's lore reasons for that. So, yeah. Cleric of the Phoenix, chaotic good, healing support. Base attack is Burning Hands. Orkira leaps to a random enemy and attacks with a small AoE cone of fire. So it is an AoE, as long as there's a group of enemies there. So it will hit multiple things. This is important for one of Orkira's abilities. Lesser Restoration is the first ability. Orkira heals all non-adjacent damaged champions for an amount of health per second. So, as you'll note, we have 2 champions that are non-adjacent, but they haven't taken any damage, so they're not going to get a heal. That's just the way it works. Now, if we swap this and we let Gazric get hit with a ranged attack, like was just happening here, let's go back and get Gazric hit. You'll see that Orkira will then heal them. I know there is a fairly valid argument that says that all D&D characters are damaged. But that's talking about, like, mentally, I think, folks. The game is more literally talking about they have been hit by an attack and are damaged. Of course, and now we're not going to get them attacking. And now there we go. And there's the heal. So see, Orkira knows. So, again, non-adjacent. So you tend to want to put Orkira somewhere where she's not adjacent to other people, or as adjacent to as few as possible, like all the way back here. She likes hanging out by herself. I mean, not really, but in this game she does. So keep that in mind for formation placement. Elemental Fire. Whenever Orkira damages an enemy, they receive 1 stack of Elemental Fire, and they being the enemy. Taking 10% of Orkira's damage per second for 15 seconds. That's not important, really. That part isn't important because Orkira is not a DPS, so... the second part is the important part. And receiving an amount of additional damage from all attacks. That's the big part. This is a debuff. This is a damage. Specifically gets referred to as a damage debuff. The enemy gets debuffed and thus takes more damage. This ability stacks up to 10 times additively, and attempting to add another stack will reset the cooldown of all stacks. This is why it's great that her attack is an AoE. Because she can AoE debuff groups of enemies, and then you can kill them easier. So Orkira wants to hit the same groups over and over, because it can stack up to 10 times. This means that having... like fast attack or like some way to make her attack faster is great. Slowing down her attack speed is bad because you're getting your debuff less often and not as high a stack. So keep those things in mind. Healing Flame. This increases the effect of Elemental Fire, that's your debuff, by 100% for each order of magnitude worth of effective healing done with lesser restoration on the current run. This means the more you heal with Orkira, the more damage you will do as a team. This leads to what we in the community call Orkira farming or Orkira stacking, where we create a formation that exists solely for Orkira to just pump out massive heals to get up to a really high point, and then we switch to a regular pushing formation with Orkira in it, and she does massive debuffs. I will demonstrate that in a bit. All right, spec choices. Breath of the Phoenix or Tail Feather of the Phoenix. Breath of the Phoenix, this increases the size of Orkira's Burning Hands AoE cone, so it can hit more enemies. And it has Elemental Fire apply 2 stacks instead of 1. So this ramps up your debuffs faster and hits a larger group of enemies if they're built up on your tank line. Tail Feather of the Phoenix. This increases the effect of lesser restoration by 100%, so your heal doubles. Lesser restoration will now heal undamaged champions. And Healing Flame will count 1% of this non-effective healing as well. Folks, shake your tail feather. This is the spec to choose to ramp up and stack up her debuffs. This is what you use for the whole Orkira stacking, Orkira farming situation. Because it allows her to heal an undamaged champion. So to trigger what that heal looks like, and you take 1% of that to count towards her debuff. So this is what you start with. Now, there are people who will start with this, they'll ramp up their debuff as high as they can, and then they'll switch their specs to this, so they're applying it twice as fast. Like if you got potions of specialization or you want to do party shenaniganry, by all means. But I tend to just run this just all the time. All the time. See, so now you'll see in the back, Entreas and Gazric are now getting healed. Now they're getting healed. And if we come over here, we can see Healing Flame. It's tracking the effective healing done. And it's keeping a score of the stacks. So I'm at EO 5. That's the order of magnitude. Now I'm at EO 6. That's 6 stacks. And you're seeing the debuff. Or you're seeing the multiplier go up and up and up. And if we come up here, now my debuff, I just started. Now it's an EO 9 debuff. Okay. So that's great. Do that. Do that. Self-sacrifice. If a champion or Orkira is able to heal, so someone that's non-adjacent, is about to take a killing blow, Orkira instantly swaps formation slots with that champion for 10 seconds and takes the subsequent hits for them. Like she'll take whatever hits come in, like that hit and any other hit in the next 10 seconds. During this time, Orkira's Overwhelm is set to twice the other champions. So we'll talk about that. Normally, Orkira's Overwhelm is 5, but you could have a tank that has like 25. In which case, if she swaps with the tank, her Overwhelm would jump to 50. Overwhelm basically reduces the amount of damage you take based off how many people are attacking you. So she's going to swap. She's going to get tankier in the sense that she has a high Overwhelm. She's still going to have her own health pool, which is probably going to be less than the tanks. But, yeah. During this time, Orkira's Overwhelm is set twice the other champions, and neither Orkira nor the other champion can be moved, removed, or swapped out. They are locked in place. Remember, Orkira's going to be healing them while they're swapped. Hopefully that helps. After the time expires, they swap back regardless of whether Orkira and or the other champion died during that time. This effect can only occur once every 60 seconds. So it's kind of an attempt to give you a get-out-of-jail-free card for a tank, for any champion, really. But generally, we see this most often with a tank champion, like somebody's up here taking the frontline damage. Orkira will swap, try to, stay alive until you complete the area. In fact, this is Orkira's achievement. You need to have Orkira somewhere, have somebody almost die, Orkira swap places with them, and then you still clear the level. That's what you have to do for Orkira's achievement. You can do this in a couple ways. You can just use Orkira a lot. It will eventually happen. And Orkira is amazing, so I highly recommend using Orkira a lot. If you want to get it right away, you can create that situation by getting somewhere where you are, with your DPS in, you are able to clear the level. But if you take the DPS out, enemies just build up on a tank. You can let that tank, you could take the DPS out, let that tank get beaten to a pulp, or Orkira swap, drop your DPS instantly into the formation and have them clear the wave and complete the level. Bingo, bango, you've got your achievement. It's a lot of work. I prefer to just use Orkira. Okay. Ultimate attack, Radiance of the Phoenix. This is one of the cooler ones, in my opinion, because it's very lore correct. Orkira flies up over the enemies, grasping the domain of the Phoenix. This is her book, her holy book, and uttering a prayer, summoning the Phoenix to rain elemental fire down upon the battlefield. This deals damage and increases the elemental fire stacks of affected enemies by 1 every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. So you're going to get 5 stacks. By the end of this, you'll have 5 bonus stacks of the debuff. So it's nice for applying the debuff. It also does a lot of damage to the entire screen. So here we go. Up above, there's the Phoenix, and it's just going to rain fire like that for 10 seconds. It's pretty fantastic. So yeah, screen-wide debuff application and damage application. I like it. All right, let's talk Gazric next. Oh, wait. I forgot to go over items and feats. Items. Healing support means you get just a pair of damage all champions items. You get lesser restoration, elemental fire, and healing flame. These are all the things you want. This increases her healing. It boosts her debuff. Healing boosts her debuff. And the other thing multiplies against it to boost the debuff. So it's all the great items. These 3 are the key items. And then ultimate cooldown reduction. Feat-wise, damage all champions. Lots of them. You can get some healing feats. So you can do lesser restoration, so you can just pump out more heals. There's elemental fire, so this is the debuff. I tend to run those. And then healing flame. Yeah. Also, again, a way to affect that. So they're just, everything that you kind of want is here. They've even got some 80%ers now. But those are either in the cash shop or for 50,000 gems. Good stuff. Gazric joins us from the Rivals of Waterdeep. Another complete affiliation. So this entire affiliation is in the game. You can use them. They work well together. Male Rock Gnome Druid. Support and Gold Fine. Neutral good champion. Base attack is magical. I forgot to point that out. So is Orkira's. And it's denoted by the little magic symbol here that looks like a magic missile. If it's a ranged attack, there's an arrow there. If it's a melee attack, it's a sword. So you can easily tell what things are. Frostbite. Gazric attacks the closest enemy with magic, dealing damage with a chance to stun them. So just a chance for some crowd control. That's nice. It's nice. Basic ability, Frosty Friendship. Gazric increases the damage of all champions in a snowflake shape. The first time I read this, I was like, we don't have any champions that are in a snowflake shape. But that's me just parsing words weird sometimes. No, it's the buff. The way the buff radiates out from Gazric is in a snowflake shape. It's a little hard to see in this formation, but if we put Gazric here, you can see there's these little snowflakes underneath. So Gazric radiates out rays at angles, right? And from here, it's going to be every single angle. But if you'll note, it's all the way down this line, right? Whereas if I move Gazric over here, it's no longer down this line because the ray is shooting at a different place. So this is how you aim Gazric's buff: is you place him somewhere, and it will buff in a line. It will buff in a line. And it doesn't matter how far away the champion is; it's going to reach. Gazric will even jump gaps in a formation. Now, if you recall, his layout looked real odd. It's because if you put Gazric here, he can still buff in these three up here, because that's in his snowflake shape. And when he was over here, he was buffing this whole line and this whole line. They built this formation, they designed this formation layout specifically to show off that Gazric can do these things. So yeah, super long distance buffer, can jump gaps in formations with the buff. Just make sure your primary DPS has that snowflake symbol underneath them. Now, the damage bonus depends on how far away they are from Gazric, with the effect increasing for each slot. So ideally, you want Gazric as far away as possible from whoever your damage dealer is, while still getting that. So some formations are going to be better than others for that. It's going to be determined on the formation layout. Traveling Merchant. Gazric now travels with a portable stall to sell his merch. As you do, increases the gold find bonus by 100% for each Rivals of Waterdeep member in the formation, including himself. So, the more rivals you have, the more money you make. You got the little stall here. It looks great. It even bumps every now and then, so the bobbleheads jiggle. Armor Ablation. Gazric's cold attacks lower an enemy's armor threshold by 15% for 30 seconds. Only applies to armored enemies. This is what we were talking about before on the map screen. Anytime you get an armored enemy, once Gazric attacks it, it now takes 15% at base, 15% less damage for you to take off an armored segment. This stacks up to 30 times, though. However, each stack tracks its own duration. Now, it lasts 30 seconds. Gazric attacks every 5 seconds. If you do the math, folks, you can get to about 6 stacks, right? Before that wears off. It's because there's stuff that they put this other limit and stuff because there's ways you can change that. That's something you have to mess around with. And in fact, that's Gazric's achievement. Gazric wants you to have a certain number, a bunch of stacks all at once. And there's different ways to do this. One way to do this is to speed up Gazric's attack speed. Gazric attacks faster, he applies more stacks. Yeah, that's one way to do it. You can get Gazric's attack speed pretty low with champions like Whittle and Human, Virgil, Merylwyn. There are now a good number of champions that reduce the attack speed of champions so that they attack faster. The easiest way to do this, however, is if you have Narak. N-R-A-K-K. Narak. Narak has an ability called Gazric Focus. It only works on champions who have high wisdom. Gazric, sitting at a 20. So it works for Gazric. You place Narak in, level Narak up, you sit him next to Gazric, and they buff formation abilities. Well, what it does with Gazric, it buffs the math on formation abilities. So what it does here with Armored Ablation is it buffs how long it lasts. I'm going to demonstrate because I want people to understand that this can be ridiculous. Okay. So, I don't even have either of them leveled all the way up, but remember, this was a 30-second effect before. It is now a 63.75-second effect, and instead of lowering the threshold by 15%, it does it by over 30. Okay, this is the easiest way to get Gazric's achievement, but if you don't have Narak, and you have instead a bunch of people who increase attack speed, you can get it that way. Okay. But yeah, Gazric and Narak are ridiculous together. Ridiculous. Alright, Control Weather. Gazric causes enemies to take an additional amount of damage in areas where it's snowing. What? At first glance, you might be like, well, this only works if I'm in an adventure where there's snow, like Icewind Dale or something, right? Right? Ultimate attack. Gazric's ultimate attack is called Sleet Storm. He summons a Sleet Storm above the nearest enemy, dealing damage and freezing the ground in a large AoE radius. The frozen ground lasts for 30 seconds, slowing enemies by 50% while they travel through it. If it is not already snowing, it begins to snow until the area changes. Boom. There's the Sleet Storm, and now it's snowing. I love this effect. It's so good, and until you change areas, it's just going to keep snowing. It's just going to keep snowing. It's so good. So that means suddenly every enemy is taking more damage. Just because you're on a level, when you pop his ultimate and you're on that level, they're just straight up taking more damage. Every enemy's taking more damage. So Gazric's ultimate is effectively a more power button because of this debuff. And if you're in a place that just naturally snows, yay. But you can make it snow everywhere, even inside, even underground. Yeah. All right, specializations. We got Genius with Gold. We got Aim Around Armor. We got Finesse with Frost. So Genius with Gold, Gazric increases the effect of Traveling Merchant by 200%. So if you're looking for gold, there's a spec for that. Aim Around Armor, he increases the duration of armor ablation by 100%. If you are trying to do Gazric's achievement and you don't have Narak, and you're just using some attack speed, you want to go Aim Around Armor. It's going to make the duration last longer. It's going to help you get that achievement done. Okay, increases the duration, it doubles it, doubles the duration. So default, it's going to last 60 seconds. Okay, that's going to help you get up to 12 or 12 to 14 stacks. You need somebody to increase attack speed to get it up to that 15, I think is the goal. Or Narak. Finesse with Frost, Gazric increases the effect of Control Weather by 200%. This is where I tend to go if I'm pushing with Gazric. Like if I'm doing a variant or something and I've got Gazric in my formation, Finesse with Frost. I want the Control Weather. I want that debuff tripled. Because that lets me do the most damage possible. Because as an in-game player, I already have enough gold. I'm not worried about the duration of the armor ablation. I just want as much damage as possible. So this is where I go usually. However, I am going to go Aim Around Armor specifically because I'm going to throw Narak in again later, and I want to see what the number comes up to. Because it's fun, folks. We need to continue. Why did we stop moving? All right. I think that's everything. Yeah. Yep. Okay, item-wise, again, support gold find, so you get a pair of Damage All Champions items. We get the Frosty Friendship item. We get the Traveling Merchant. That's the gold find item. And then we get Control Weather. That's the debuff item. So again, 3 really solid items to focus on for Gazric. And then cooldown reduction, which is great. That's also a good thing because that brings up the Sleet Storm. And you want that debuff up as often as possible. Feat-wise, we get Damage All Champions. We get Frosty Friendship. Shocker. We get Traveling Merchant. That's gold find. This should be a coin. But then we get a couple stat feats. So we get a Strength +2. That's going to buff Gazric's Strength up to 10. Which, between that and their Charisma score, qualifies for them for Patron Zariel. So that's how they get into Zariel patron stuff. And then Constitution 1, this brings them up to 14. I've got that one slotted right now, which lets them do Patron Vajra stuff. So these stat scores, a lot of times, the important ones usually are the ones that get them into patrons, although there are now other things that it's good to have stat feats for. So decent feats for Gazric. Do I have... Oh, he's got some skins. Oh, yeah, Archdruid. Oh. It makes it look like I have it. That's weird. Head Chef is out right now, though, folks. Head Chef Gazric. Look at that. Look at that! It's got a ladle. Love it. Messy. Also, Ancient Orkira. This skin is literally lit. Yeah. I went there. All right. Speaking of, let me throw Orkira in a different... let's see. Polymorph Shadowfell. I always go with the Witchlight. I like the Witchlight, Orkira. Because of the cotton candy. Specifically because of the cotton. Why did you move out there, Orkira? Why are you... There we go. All right. On to Entreas. The newest champion arriving in Idle Champions is the first of a brand new affiliation. The Awful Ones. Although it lists another person already, but we don't have anybody else in the game yet. So, spoiler alert. Entreas, male, human bard, chaotic good, healing support role. Now, again, this isn't real healing. It's temporary HP shields. They just classified temp HP shields under healing in this game. But that's not the same thing. Base attack, magic attack, vicious mockery. Entreas attacks the enemy with the most health, causing it to take 100% damage until he attacks again. So this is actually pretty neat. This is great against bosses. It doubles damage against bosses. Well, it doubles damage against anything he attacks, but double damage against bosses, that's not the worst thing ever. And it's built into the basic attack. Inspiring Song. This is the core of Entreas' kit. Everything is built around Inspiring Song. So understanding and building a formation around Inspiring Song is what creates powerful situations with Entreas. Entreas inspires each adjacent champion, giving them 34 temporary hit points every 5 seconds. And that number will change, the amount will change, and increases their damage by an amount. So it buffs, you're getting temp HP shields every 5 seconds, refreshes every 5 seconds, and you're getting a constant buff to adjacent champions. In fact, if we so Entreas would want to be here. You can see if someone qualifies, like if someone is getting this adjacent bonus, because Entreas will have this bright kind of this golden glow beneath them, and then the next person will have a lighter glow. But the next person doesn't, right? So, default positioning Entreas adjacent to your primary DPS, but that can change with the rest of this thing. Any champion with a charisma score of 17 or higher further inspires all unaffected adjacent champions, and this continues to cascade. What does that mean, Gaarawarr? Well, it means if you have a high charisma, like Orkira does, but you have somebody normally a lower charisma, the low charisma person isn't spreading this buff. But if we swap these two places, everyone gets it. Everyone gets it. Because Orkira gets it, and then because she has a high charisma, she passes it on to whoever she's adjacent to. This is key to doing Entreas' achievement. Entreas' achievement wants everyone in a formation to be buffed by Inspired Song. I have an explanation for that in my guide to Greengrass on the subreddit. Maybe Gabe can drop the link. And I believe I have a screenshot of how I laid out the formation. I did it in Sword Coast. I think it's super easy there. So, Entreas works best, honestly. Truly works best, and we'll get to how this gets even better. With some champions in the formation that have high charisma, 17 or higher, to be able to pass that Inspiring Song on to hit as many people as possible. Okay? So, Entreas' song is so inspiring, he also inspires himself. The total shield amount on each champion is limited to 10 times the champion's max health. That's a lot. Before this, Calliope was the queen of shields in this game. Calliope could apply shields to everyone in the formation with her ultimate, but also everyone within 2 adjacencies every 15 seconds, or 10 if you chose a certain spec. But it was limited to 200% of their max health. Entreas, 10 times the max health. 10 times the max health. So there could potentially be very big shields. The hardiest, bardiest bard. Entreas increases Inspiring Song's temp HP bonus by 100% for each champion affected by it, stacking additively. So this is how you increase the temp HP shield. Again, by making sure it's on as many people in the formation as possible. So the more people you inspire, the bigger the shield. Suave and sophisticated. Ready for the other part? Entreas increases Inspiring Song's damage bonus by an amount for each champion affected by it, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Buffs apply to the pre-stack value. That's the broken way. Entreas right now came out of the gate mathematically broken. Because whenever you have a multiplicatively stacking bonus that gets buffs applied to pre-stack, things get wild. Yeah. Because there's an item. The reason is there's an item for Suave and Sophisticated. This means the more item levels you drop into Entreas, the more outrageous this bonus gets. And that's before you add someone who likes to observe positional formation abilities like this, like Artemis, into the situation. Entreas is ridiculously strong right now. Ridiculously strong. I don't know what Sandy thinks about that yet. We'll find out. Just remember, this is a live service game, and champions can be balanced and rebalanced at any time. That's all I'll say. For now, Entreas, ridiculous. Ridiculous. If you apply the buff, if you build a formation that applies the buff to everyone, things get ridiculous. There's feats for this. There's an item for this. The value can get really up there. In fact, hold on. I've actually got the feats in. Let me take them out. And we'll build something out with that in a bit. Can't be defeated. Entreas increases Inspiring Song's damage bonus by 10% for each feat your champions have unlocked, stacking additively. Because we needed more ways to buff the damage bonus. Apparently. So this is their driver for you to get every feat in the game. All the gem feats, all the other feats. As you can see, I've already got a bunch for Entreas. All the feats, because Entreas is going to track your total feat unlocks and boost the damage bonus that's already ridiculous by the number of feats you have. Right now, I'm sitting at, I would not have guessed I had this many. I have 876 unlocked feats. 876 unlocked feats. That number could be probably a lot higher. Someone in chat can tell us how many there are currently. I feel like it could be getting close to 1,000 if it's not there already. So yeah, another way to buff Inspiring Song, because why not? Sure, why not? The specialization paths. We have Bard College. We got Truly Awful Stats, and we got the A in Chaotic is for Entreas. This is one where they give you the number totals at the bottom. These are multiplicatively stacking boosts, but the amount varies. So, Bard College. Entreas increases Inspiring Song's damage bonus by 200% for each bard in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. Entreas, Truly Awful Stats. Entreas increases Inspiring Song's damage bonus by 150% for each champion in the formation with a total ability score of 78 or lower, stacking multiplicatively. And A in Chaotic, same thing, but 100% for each Chaotic champion. Okay, yeah, there are over 1,000 feats. That's what I thought. So here's the thing. They give you the total down at the bottom. Because this is multiplicatively stacking, and because they're all effectively just like within the same kind of, if we say, EO2 range, right? Look for the higher number. Just look for the higher number. You know, if you've built out what you think is the best formation for you, then just pick the higher number. If you're trying to build out something that, you know, specific, obviously Bard has the biggest bonus, but if there's only one Bard and there's 2 chaotic, obviously I'm going with the 2. It's really simple math because I'm at least getting the multiplicative bonus off of this, which is going to be way better than just getting a double. Okay, this would be additive. Multiplicative is going to be higher. So, God, I don't know what I want to put here. Yeah, we'll just go chaotic. And remember, once again, that boosts Inspiring Song, because apparently not enough things boost Inspiring Song. Apparently not enough things boost Inspiring Song. All right. Oh, look at that. Shield value now. Oh, jeez. Shields for days. Shields for days. All right. Ultimate Cloud of Daggers. Entreas takes a hand mirror out and smiles into it, causing it to shatter. That's not how that's supposed to work. Shards of glass fly out towards the enemy with the most health, forming a cloud upon reaching the target. The cloud deals ongoing damage for 10 seconds. This is good, especially on this, on the Elder Brian. Brian, the Elder Brain. I'm always going to do that just for fun. Because that damage, hey, could be taking off hit-based health every time it ticks. Every time it ticks. So if we pop this here in a second, I'm waiting for a boss to come out. You'll see what it looks like. Come on, boss. Come on, there we go. Boom. It's going to go straight to the boss. Boom. Just wrecked his day. Now, if the boss had lived, it would continue to do damage in that area the entire time. It is fixed. The boss could walk through it. Keep that in mind. But when you're dealing with Brian on Area 50, it's great to just, you have to clear everyone else off the screen and then do it, because Brian doesn't have a lot of health. Brian only has 50 health. But once you land it, it stays. It's challenging. I get it. But it's fun. I would talk about items, but I don't have any. So how do we fix that? This is another thing we'd like to talk about. People always want to know, what's the best way to get to open chests? What's the best order to open chests? Usually they're asking, what's the best order to open chests to get full epic? There isn't one. Easy answer. Because getting epic is just truly about RNG or pity timers. But there is a best way to get to, the most efficiently get to full blues. And that is what makes a champion viable. The way to do that is to open first Electrum chests from streams like this one, then the silver named chests for that champion, then gold chests. And what you're looking for by opening Electrums and silvers first is to try to get the champion to at least green gear. At least green gear. So if I were to pop, let's just say I'm going to open 19 Electrums. I got a bunch of gear for Entreas. It's a bunch of green gear. Am I in full green gear now? Let's go see. I am. That's kind of what you're trying to get to before you open gold chests. So you don't have to have an outrageous amount of Electrums or silvers. I did it with 19. You just have to have some. And granted, this was the only champion I had that was ungeared. The more ungeared champions. So if you're picking up all 3 of these champions fresh, it's going to take more Electrums and silvers to get you to greens. But if you do this, you get to greens. And we do this because gold chests have an upgrade rule that no other chests have. Gold chests guarantee you an upgrade to either green or blue when you open them. If you have if there's something that could be upgraded. And what we don't want to have happen is for you to open a gold chest and get green gear. So if you get to green gear first via Electrums and silvers, when you open a gold, I can be full blue in 6 golds. Or I could get lucky and get an epic out of that, which I will. But that's the idea. So, Electrums, then named Silvers, then Golds. But really just you're trying to get green, up to green out of these. Then you're going to pop your Golds. Why Electrums first and not Silvers? Silvers target just that champion. Just that champion. Electrums target every champion you have. Every champion you own could get gear out of an Electrum chest. However, there is a bit of a funnel when you're opening Electrum chests where they will, if there's a chance to upgrade, if they roll an item and it could be an upgrade, it will funnel into a champion that potentially could use that upgrade. In which case, going from no gear to any gear is considered an upgrade in this game. So when you first start popping those Electrum chests, they will target Entreas first, as just happened. You just saw it happen. I have 116 champions. I got 116 champions. So you would think 19 chests, it should take a lot more than that to get Entreas that gear, and it didn't because of the funnel. Okay, because of the funnel. So we open up Electrums first so that they'll funnel, and once they get to the point and you start seeing them just throwing everywhere else, it's funneled as much as it's going to funnel. Then you dump in the name Silvers, because that's going to focus duplicate item levels into that slot, and potentially get you up to blue. Electrums and Silvers can get you up to blue gear. Okay. I'm going to address this comment in chat because it's not correct. Sean Terry Wilson, you get 6 blue in 6 golds anyway, as blue is guaranteed. No, it's not. An upgrade is guaranteed. An upgrade is guaranteed. A blue is not guaranteed. That upgrade could be green. That upgrade could be green. Okay. So I can now do 6 gold. I'm going to get at least 1 purple and 5 blue because my pity timer was at 4 to get an epic. Oh, but instead I got 3 epics. I don't know, I'll take it. Summer Entreas now 3 blue, 3 epic, and I barely opened anything. I got real lucky on that, but that's how you do that, folks. I'm gonna burn all my Electrum chests just because I do this every event. I always wait. Yeah, that was streamer luck. That was total streamer luck. I should have only gotten 1, but I'll take it. I will take it. So this is going to give me a ton of item levels, and there's some people who are going, wait a minute, oh god, I got a shiny too. It's streamer luck all day long. Why do I not get the streamer luck all the time? Why don't I get the streamer luck all the time? Some of you are probably wondering, how the heck did you get so many chests already? I talked about this at the top of the stream. Remember, I said you can get extra event tokens from opening bounty contracts. I opened all my bounty contracts, and that gave me tons and tons. It gave me a few 100,000 event tokens. And I ran free plays to 50 over and over and over again through Modron automation, and I got all these chests. And that's how I gear up my champions. So now my Entreas full epics. Let's talk about items. Healing support. So we only get 1 damage of all champions because they decided, hey, let's give him lots of item support. Damage bonus of Entreas is Inspiring Song. This is the one. This is the one. This is the way. This ups the damage bonus of Inspiring Song. I got the shiny in the right place, folks. This was epic streamer luck. Suave and Sophisticated is the one that's the broken item. This is the item that breaks Entreas's stuff and makes it multiplicatively madness. Because it's a pre-stack bonus. So I got the item level the shiny in the right place. Wild. There's a can't be defeated item, and then there's ultimate damage and ultimate cooldown. Feat wise, damage all champions. You can up the temp HP shields. You can up the damage bonus. But here's what you want. Again, Suave and Sophisticated, because that's the broken ability. You do the feats for that. You do the feats for that. As a Constitution feat to qualify for Vajra. And then again, there's an extra more shieldy one down here. So we're going to go these. We're going to do these. And this is going to turn, my Inspiring Song is now already up to E14. And I only have 3 champions in the formation. If we build that out bigger, it's going to get a little more wild. I'm going to go ahead and do that. We don't have a lot of questions for the Q&A, so let's go ahead and throw a formation in that spreads. I'm not going for like some massive types of damage. I just want to see high charisma. Here we go. This will throw things all the way. Oh, this will help throw things all the way into the back. Like if I'm just throwing champions around. Our Christmas not that great. Where do we want? We want a bird song. So I'm just going to try to get everybody in here to be... There we go. Everybody's got the glow. Everybody's got that Entreas glow. If I didn't have the achievement already, this would give it to me. But I already did it. But now everybody's got shields. Everybody's got a damage bonus. In this way, Entreas doesn't have to be adjacent to your DPS because you can spread it throughout. Now, obviously, this is not an ideal formation. This is just an example. But now I went from E14 bonus to E24. E24 bonus to damage just from that. My shields are now over 7,000. Yeah. Yeah. And if I had aimed for his spec choice, if I'd aimed to try to max that out too, it would have gone even higher, right? So this is how you can spread out the glow, the Entreas glow to the entire formation, right? The other thing we wanted to show off was, we'll do this back here on Area 1. This is usually you do Orkira stacking on Area 1 after you have done a deep push. You've leveled up your Orkira as high as you can, so her healing is as much as it possibly is, or could be. And then you pop in an Orkira stacking formation. Orkira stacking formations... Oh, did I not put the... I didn't put the familiars in for that. Orkira stacking formations are built on the backbone of Archon and Artemis. And they feature a lot of other champions. But there's things about Archon and Artemis that multiply things. There's things about these other champions that multiply things. And you stack them all together in a big way. So this is my example Orkira stacking formation for this event. If I were already up to my soft cap, this would provide a very large boost to heals. But we can see that already in play because now we're getting on... here we go. If you see over Artemis's head, he's getting an E21 heal, whereas the normal heal is only E05. This is how you multiply the heal and ramp up your effective healing far beyond what Orkira would do normally, and thus get Orkira up into, E22 orders of magnitude. We'd hit E23 here shortly. This could go higher if I were at soft cap. You would put in healing feats just to get a little extra more out of it, because you want every potential order of magnitude you can get. But you won't want to hang out too long. Like, this is going up kind of slow, but if with speed potions it would go faster. And then once you get it ramped up as much as you want, then you just, you go back to a normal formation. You put Orkira in, and she keeps this huge number, and thus this huge debuff. Okay, that's going to be how you do Orkira stacking. For anyone who wants to try it, and let's look at Gazric's. Oh, I want to put Narak now next to Gazric. What did we get that duration? 161 second duration on armor ablation. Yeah, that'll get you your achievement, folks. That'll get you your achievement. All right, I'm gonna go to some music. It's Orkira's song. We'll come back. I will address the questions. If you've been asking a question with question colon in front of it, Gabe has been grabbing it and putting it in a document. I have them. I will hit the stuff that is on topic first, and then we'll go from there. Get back out of there. All right, be back in a moment, folks.
I want you to be happy, I want you to be safe. And if it can't be either, then I'll toast you in the grave. I'm hanging with the phoenix as you travel across the land, thwarting lots of evil with the cast of burning hand. So let's take it one problem at a time. If we're there together, there's no mountain we won't climb. So grab around the fire, my friend, and sing another line. Let's celebrate together till we all run out of rhymes. Hey! I'll heal you with my fire, I'll catch you with my wings. And when it gets real dire, I'll deathward all the things. My friends are like marshmallows, flammable and sweet. I try hard not to burn them when I'm bringing home the heat. Then we'll take it one problem at a time. If we're there together, there's no mountain we won't climb. Together around the fire, my friends, and sing another line. Let's celebrate together till we all run out of rhymes. Hey! I'm always up for travel, I've been to many lands. We can even go right now, just let me grab my pants. I'll follow you through danger and heal you with the spell. And if we stick together, everything will turn out swell. Then we'll take care of problem at a time. If we're there together, there's no mountain we won't climb. So gather around the fire, my friends, and sing another line. Let's celebrate together till we all run out of rhymes. Hey! Jumping through the portals and traveling the plains, always fighting evil and easing all your pains. I'm helping out the heroes and the BFGs. One day we'll be happy and all will be at ease. Then we'll take it one problem at a time. If we're there together, there's no mountain we won't climb. So gather around the fire, my friends, and sing another line. Let's celebrate together till we all run out of rhymes. Then we'll take it one problem at a time. If we're there together, there's no mountain we won't climb. It's been a lot of fun here, but now it's time to go. Come back again tomorrow and be on another show.
Hey. Oh, I was late. All right, we're going to dive into questions, folks. We're going to dive into questions. Anaknu. How did the tokens get more gear for the champions? Again, the more tokens you have, the more event tokens you have, the more free plays you can run. The more free plays you run, the more gear you get for your champions. It's a pretty direct line. So what people will do, some people, is they will amass vast amounts of bounty contracts, like I have done here. I just got some tiny ones from all those Electrums. And then they will save them until the event happens. And then they will pop all these, they will burn all these at the start of the event, and they will have massive amounts of tokens. And then they will just run lots and lots of free plays. You get these by opening chests. Like we got the tiny ones from Electrum chests. You can get some stuff, but I just opened lots of gold chests. This a massive amount I have here I got from opening 2,000 gold chests. Obviously, that's out of reach of most people who are especially newer players. But what you need to know is that, when you're earning gems and you're buying stuff, you want to be spending them when you're new. So, you buy a familiar. If you've got enough for a familiar, buy a familiar. Don't necessarily sit and wait more than a day or two for a familiar, for the gems for a familiar. If you've got to wait that long, just start buying gold chests. And out of those gold chests, you're going to get bounty contracts and lots of other good things. Lots of other good things that you want, right? Lots of other power. And then when the event happens, then you just open up all your bounty contracts and then start doing free plays over and over and over and over again. Now, you want to start, I start my event by doing Deep pushes for favor. I get enough so that I can do that. All the variants show green. I just did this on my new player account. I did not get enough, so all my variants show green, and then I spend my bounty contracts. I spend those tokens doing the variants first, because those are guaranteed gold chests. Then I do the excess for the rest of the event. I use the excess tokens to do free plays for the champions I want gear for. So because I already had Orkira and Gazric, and they were already fully epicked out with lots of item levels, everything went to Entreas this event. On my new player account, things will be a little more equally distributed. Even with Entreas being really strong, it's still gonna be a bit more equally distributed amongst everything. Freeman 129, could you please explain the interaction between Valentine and Artemis, especially regarding Orkira stacking? So there is a way to do what I was doing earlier, and because Orkira's heal is a positional formation ability, that is what Artemis keys off of. There's a champion called Valentine that keys off of that as well. She wants to like get a very high number of positional formation abilities, and she can boost things based off that. I could probably I always forget about Valentine. She's newer. I could probably get a little better bonus out of that, out of the heal and the debuff by including Valentine in my formation somewhere. In fact, we can go take a look at that. I still forgot to save this with all of the familiars out. Let me do that. Wait, that's not right. There we go. This would have been what it would be. Let me just save it this way first. Now, if I swap out here and I go Valentine, what we would have to do is find a way to put Valentine in a position where she has as many positional formation abilities. She's receiving as many positional formation abilities as possible. Looks like maybe a 3 is where we could get that. It did go up in order of magnitude. I went from E21 to E22. That could change depending on the champions that I use, honestly, to do this, to trigger this with, and item levels and things like that. So this is what would do it, because she's going to get this, and then when she gets that positional formation ability, she's also passing it on to anybody that's a DPS. That's going to increase that total. And it's going to get you even more healing in this situation. That's just how Valentine works, period, is she boosts positional formation abilities. You want to focus as many as you can on her, and she passes them on to the DPS. If the DPS was getting them all already, they get more. If they weren't, they just get them. So Valentine has some interesting interactions here. I will go ahead and save this as my new Orkira stacking here. And then we'll just bring everybody back out, because these are who we're talking about today, primarily. All right. Snores a lot. How do you get all your bounty contracts? Again, I do lots of gem farming, which is why I have like almost 1 million gems. And then I spend those gems on gold chests, and then I open all those gold chests. On my new player account, I just push. I just try to complete adventures. I'm not even trying to gem farm. I'm just trying to complete adventures and variants and patron stuff, because they all award. You can earn gems during all of it. The more I do, the more gems I earn. I turn those into gold chests. Those gold chests get me better gear for my core champions that I'm still using. For all of them, though, for the core. Plus, they give me contracts, bounty contracts, blacksmithing contracts, and lots of potions that let me complete things faster. Spending your gems on chests is important because it gives you power. That power lets you complete adventures and variants faster, which gets you more gems, which gets you more power. It's kind of a cycle until you get to a certain point and you're like, well, now I need gear on all. I've got, full epic on all my core and evergreens. Now I just need gear on everybody else, but yeah. Opening gold chests is great, and you're going to do that for a long time. You're going to be spending your gems on gold chests for a very long time.
Because along with all of those things, gold chests also drop feats for champions. So you're going to want all those too. You're going to want all those too. Lurking Rider, what's your average item level for Entreas now? Oh, yeah, I didn't look. It should be over 200. That's generally where things end up with that many chests. Where's he at? There he is. Oh, it's not. 182. So I'm running a little low. Running a little on the low side. By the time the event's over, it should be around 200. That's kind of my goal. With the gems I earn currently, I try to get each new champion up to about average item level 200. The key is that this got the shiny. That's just fantastic. Nick, how do free plays result into getting chests? Again, this is kind of from the top of the show. If you missed that part, maybe go back again. But every time you do a free play an event for one of these champions, it says the Endless War Orkira, Gazric, Entreas. The reward is a chest for that champion, either a silver or a gold chest. So doing free plays over and over again, it costs you bouquets. Doing free plays over and over again gets you gear. That's how events work. That's how the events work. All right, let's hit up the off-topic stuff. Let me jump around here a little bit. There was a good one here. Okay. Regis 2K. Hi, does global damage buff all damage like click damage? My question to you is, where are you seeing the term global damage? I don't know that I've seen that term in game, but maybe I missed it. There is something called damage of all champions. In which case, something that increases the damage of all champions only increases champions, because clicking isn't a champion. Clicking it isn't a champion. It's a bounty reward? What are we talking about? Global damage is in patron perks. Hold on. Damage of all champions. Damage of all champions. Neutral champions. Neutral champions. Which patron? Krellin's favor has a blessing. Blessings and perks are not the same thing. So, if you're going to tell me one thing, then don't change another. Damage of all champions. Hold on. I'm trying to see damage of all champions. Damage of all champions. Damage of all champions. Damage of female champions. Damage of lawful champions. Okay. These are all stated. Hold on. I'm going to get there, folks. I get that people think they found the solution, but I am going to look and see if anything actually says global damage. I'm trying to make a point here. Damage of all champions. Damage of all champions. Champions aged 50 or older. Damage of all champions. Shevik, I know what they mean. I am making a point. Please read the text, is my point. Damage of all champions. Damage of all champions. Global blessings, or blessings. Damage of all champions. All champion damage, X2. Yeah. So, Corellin. Let me go to Corellin. All champion damage. Damage of all champions. Front and back columns. Melee champions. All champions with affiliation. Global damage plus 20. Okay, so it's this one. It's familiar stakes. Global damage. This is what I want to find. Plus 20% for each familiar unlocked. Here's the thing. This is not a term that ever gets used. I've never seen that term. I didn't even notice it said that. So global damage, I have no clue. That's a Dev Insights question. Because the thing is, generally speaking, they did it over here too. Generally speaking, what they're talking about is the damage of all champions. So you're going to have to take that to Dev Insights. Yeah, that's a Dev Insights question. Because otherwise, what we're talking about is damage of all champions. And when you see global or local up here, these references, both This is a reference that's pointed out in patrons for perks, but it affects blessings as well. Local means when you have that patron activated and you're doing patron variants. Global means everywhere, but they specifically say damage of all champions. And over here, oh God, I hate this. Okay. Anything on the left, if you have it split like this visually, anything on the left is a local. So this only happens in the Grand Tour of the South Coast. Anything over here is global. That's what it means, applies to all campaigns. And some layouts, this part is down under here. So yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. It shouldn't, if it's supposed to be, that global damage has never been used before as a descriptor. Until those specific blessings. Generally, they're referring to all champs damage. That's something that needs to be asked on Dev Insights and get some clarifications. Hey, folks, Brain is here. Brian the Elder Brain is here. So this is the challenge here. Even if I click back here on the Brain, I can take off a chunk once every 5-6 seconds. But when his friends attack, they heal it right back up. And they have ranged attacks, so they don't even have to get up to your formation in some cases. So keep in mind, this can be a challenging boss for newer players. So yeah, generally speaking, the damage bonuses are damage of all champions. And that means a champion, not a familiar or you clicking. Those specific global damage ones, no idea. No idea. You're going to have to ask the devs. We answered that. We answered that already. Lurking Rider, with your new player account, which of the champion unlock quests or variants did you enjoy the most or find yourself struggling with, and why? Oh, it's generally on a new player account, the one that's challenged me so far, and it's always this, is usually the first challenge, is the Dragon Bait unlock. It's also the one I enjoy the most. I like those challenges. We just did Orkira's yesterday on stream on GG2E, and walked right through it, in part because the boss bugged. Oh well. Yeah, I like any of those, any of the evergreen unlocks. Once you get to Azak, well, after Dritz's evergreen unlock is meh. But Azaka's pretty good, but Dragon Bait is when it starts to get really good. After that, the evergreen unlocks are usually pretty solid challenges. Orange Cores, when buying items in the patron store, you need influence for certain items. Correct. If you spend influence on perks, does that subtract from the influence you need in the item shop? No. And you can see that definitively because here I only have E08 influence available. I've spent E10. But when I come to the shop, it says I've got E10 because the shop is looking at your total influence earned all time. And it's just gating your ability to purchase based off that total. So while you're using your influence for perks over here, it's just tracking your total amount over here in the shop. Yeah, you don't have to worry. You want to use it on perks immediately. Don't worry. Oh God, did I do that? Oh, I did probably. Oops. All right. Did I do that? I screwed up some on the back end. It's fine. It'll be fine. Don Watson, how do I learn how to build teams? Practice. I've got a guide for that. Underscore guides in chat. There's a guide for that on the subreddit. Link will pop up here in a moment from the bot, hopefully. And it's called the Formations 101. So it walks you through what you're looking at. The idea with this game is you want to build out a party of champions who focus their buffs onto one DPS champion. As a new player, that's Jarlaxle, generally speaking, when you're brand new. After that, it can change to a variety of different DPS champions. But you want to focus everything onto one champion. That's the way the game is built. It's built around this idea that you're just ramping up the power of that one person, and then they're going to do all the killing. Like here, 100% of the damage, right? You learn to do, but how you do that is by reading champions. Like what we did today. I went through and I reviewed each ability and how it worked. And what I looked for is formation building cues, like with Lesser Restoration, Orkira heals non-adjacent champions. So I want to make sure Orkira isn't next to who I want her to heal. Generally, that's your front line with your tanks, right? So you wouldn't put Orkira in the set. What that tells you is you wouldn't put your Orkira next to the tanks, right? You look for other cues like, with Entreas, the first cue is he inspires adjacent champions. That's kind of a clue. You would want you can use Entreas adjacent to the DPS. As we showed today, there are ways to make that not have to be the way, but that is one way to do it. So you're reading through the abilities, and you're taking those formation building cues and building your formation with that in mind. It's kind of the foundational knowledge of Idle Champions, because the game is literally a puzzle game based around you building formations with these puzzle pieces that are the champions. So learning how to build a formation is where you want to start in terms of learning things. And that requires just learning a champion at a time. Just learn one champion at a time. The Lotus Hunter got crawled through the patron shop and just finished his milestone achievement. Now that I'm not choosing his spec to get that, is there any that should be the go-to choice now? I tend to use whatever the one is that fires off the multiple things. I am not the Krond main, but my understanding is Firebolt, Cantrip Firebolt is the one to go with. Because the nice thing about Cantrip Firebolt is it will cantrip that Firebolt out onto one target and hit that target multiple times. See, like that. He could if we could kill this quicker. So that will help you chew through hit base and armored things. Or it's supposed to. It's up to 3 random enemies. It used to all fight. So it looks like it's only shooting one, but maybe all the things are on top of each other. But you could. It's extra wave clear. That's the one I go with. If there's other people out there who recommend things that are Krond mains, go with whatever they say. I am not a Krond main, but that's generally what I run. Aline Misao, what is the Legendary Forge? Legendary Forge is how you get legendary gear. That's how you get legendary gear. It's up here. It's the forge icon. It's literally a forge icon. It's an anvil, but that's generally what you're seeing in a forge. So you take Scales of Tiamat that you earned from your trials runs. You come over here. You pick a champion. You pick one of their items. Ooh, we can do this. We can do this live, folks. You find a champion that has an epic piece of gear. It can only be done to epics. And if you have enough scales, you can come over here and you can turn this epic into an epic legendary item. Is that just a visual bug? This shouldn't be. This is not correct. That's a reforge. Yeah, that's strange. Normally, so the cost technically is based on how many legendaries you have on this champion. It looks like visually this is a bit broken. It shouldn't be costing me 1620 to do this. I'll have to restart my client and see if that fixes it. Turning it off and turning it back on again works very well in this game. But the amount of scales is based off how many legendaries you've already created on that champion specifically. So the first one's cheap. They give you that first taste real cheap. And then it goes up from there. I believe the total cost of a fully legendary auto champion is 4,500 scales. It's fairly low. They'll be level 1. But then you can come back and you can upgrade like this level of 1 ability, you can spend more scales to upgrade the legendary effect. Every time you upgrade it, so take it from 1 to 2, it would double the bonus. So this would go to from 20% to 40%. You can level it up to 20. But when you do that, it costs favors. So whenever you forge a legendary, it gets assigned a favor. This one got Corellans. So I spend an order of magnitude of favor each time I want to level it up. I've got a guide for that too. You can head out my guide to the Legendary Forge. Streamer luck got to balance out somehow. Oh no, if it actually charged me 1620, I'd be big mad. It's supposed to be way less. I don't know what's going on there. They just changed they just redid this UI, and I don't know if this is a bug because of that or what, but it's supposed to be a lot cheaper, and that timer's not supposed to be there anymore. That's the old version. Fabuki Camillo, what happens when you run time gates for characters you'd already run once? Does it still give golden chests for the 75 area run, or is it starts to only give only for one variant? Every time you do a new time gate, so you close a time gate and you open a new one, it resets everything you did in the time gate. You can do both the first 2 basic adventures. Each are going to give you a gold chest, and the variant. It's going to give you a new variant, or it's going to randomize the variant, and you get another one. So every time you open up a time gate, you get all 3 gold chests, however many silver chests you want from free play. You bounce, you can close it, you open a new time gate for that champion. You again have 3 gold chests available to you, and however many silvers that you're going to earn, based off time gate rules. So yeah, it's always going to reset that. What's going to change is that if you've never done a time gate for that champion before, and you've never done an event for them before, because there are 3 variants in every event, and it only gives you 1 in a time gate, you're going to get one of those 3 variants at random. You're going to complete it. You close it. You open a new time gate. You're going to get one of the 2 left at random. You complete it. You close it. You're going to get whatever variant you haven't done yet will be the 3rd one. And then after that, it just randomly gives you one from that point on. Folks, we can't talk about external websites if it's not officially supported. So, yeah, that's why we're not going to bring that up on stream. Gold Star Alpha, does anyone know what the unlock symbol that is showing up on some of my unlocked characters is for? I'm not sure what symbol you're talking about. I don't know what the unlock symbol means, because that term isn't a term I understand for the symbols the game uses. There's like a lock, so there's like a circle with a line through it. But I don't know what, like I don't know that we have an unlock symbol, so that terminology is throwing me off. If you could be a little more descriptive, Gold Star Alpha, it may have to do with a variant you're in. But I don't know. Riffraff, how far can your Briv jump when he jumps? I think I remember saying jumping more than 4 areas was counterproductive. Oh, I didn't say that. Mine I have skipping 4 skips, so I have mine at a 4 jump Briv. A 9 jump Briv is great. Being between 4 and 9 can be counterproductive. That's why there's a feat that locks it at 4. And it has to do with how automated Briv gem farming works. It isn't about just using Briv to progress normally. It's about optimizing your automation. A 4 skip is optimal. 9 skip is even more optimal. Anything that's not those things is less optimal. So even if you were jumping like 4.5 or 4 and 50% 5 or even 5, because of the way that throws off how you're progressing and how you're braking, like how your stop is, use it like a car, braking like a car. There's a way you stop the car. having something that's not 4 or 9 is problematic and can slow your gem farm down. Doesn't change anything anywhere else. Just in that. Folks, I see a lot of people throwing out ideas for what the unlock thing is, but Gold Star Alpha hasn't answered, and they're the ones that would kind of have to answer. I can't make assumptions about what they're asking. What do I got? Oh, hey, we're wrapping up, though, so it is about time to go. This is the last C&E game stream for the week. Streams will resume on Monday with a familiar quest. Is my remembrance. I also stream on Mondays and Wednesdays to stream Idle Champions. Mondays and Wednesdays, come hang out with me, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. Spelled like it sounds. You can see it right down below me. Generally, lately, I'm playing my new player account a lot, but I always have my main account up, and so we can talk about all kinds of stuff. I do stuff on the main. I do stuff on the new player account. So you can hit me up for questions. You can find my guides on the subreddit. You can find VODs of shows like this one on the C&E Games YouTube channel under Gaarawarr Guides. There's a lot of them. Just about all the topics have been covered at one point or another. Just about all, not all of them. And then I also stream other games on my channel Tuesdays and Saturdays. So on my channel in about an hour-ish after I go get some lunch, I stream games. We're starting a new one today. Grab your foul weather gear, folks. We're hopping in the boat and we're going fishing in Dredge. So come join me for some Dredge. We're starting up Dredge today. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Morton Canaan was a mentor to him. He sent him to a mystical plane. Learning magic from the circle of fate. Life would never be the same. Always fighting for the forces of good. Valorous, stalwart, and kind. First to the fight, last out the door. He'll never leave an ally behind. Mind is sharp as a sword. Arm as sure as his word. Leading the charge to justice with never-ending toughness. He'll never be corrupted. Love can always be trusted. Found a forger, creator of spells. That's why we all remember his name. Acid arrows flying, meteors flying. Each deed adds to his fame. Wisdom deep as an ocean, protecting his friends with devotion, leading the charge to justice with never-ending toughness. He'll never be corrupted. No can always be trusted. Forces of chaos, we're undone. It's milk cast down the minions of Therizon. Heroism was not just a king, as he wielded the spear of Zagic, leading the charge to justice with never-ending toughness. He'll never be corrupted. Milk can always be trusted. Leading the charge to justice.